Hi, I'm Chris from CodeReviewVideos.com, and in this video we're going to get started adding in a top nav, a Bootstrap top nav that is, to our FOSUserBundle layout. Now this is not related to FOSUserBundle directly, but you don't need to do this. It's just probably you will want to do something like this if you're using Bootstrap. So the thing that I'm talking about is this top nav. You've probably seen it. I mean, I use it on Code Review. You see it on many sites these days. There's also the alternative, like the inverse version and whatnot. But for the purposes of demonstration, I'm just going to rip out the top nav from the starter template. So we're just going to view source, and it's handily there for us in this nav block. So pretty easy just to copy in. I'm just going to drop it into our resources, views, and then I'm just going to put it directly in this top level folder. So I'm just going to call it top nav HTML twig. Yes, and I'm just going to paste that in, and then we're going to customize it a little bit, but for the moment we'll just leave it as is. We don't need to do any extending on there because we're going to pull this template in, so it's like sort of standalone. It doesn't care, or it doesn't have any knowledge as to where it will be used. So let's just say we're going to include, and then a bit of Symphony plugin magic. It's going to know what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to start typing top nav, and it's just going to know that that's what I'm talking about. So if we refresh our page now, we should see, if we refresh there, that we get the top nav. Now notice that this text didn't drop down, and that's a little bit of a Bootstrap gotcha, I suppose. It's just something to do with the CSS that we've got to add in. So let's just quickly view the source. You can see that we've got the starter template. It's got a little bit of additional like padding at the top and that we need to paste in to ours if we want this to work. So we also need to, I suppose, add in a extra bit of Bootstrap Symphony styling. Now, I'm not a massive fan of using Aesthetic or anything Symphony related for my front end stuff at all anymore. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to do that. But I would advise that you don't, in the real world, you use something like Less or Sass or some sort of front end build system to make this, just to make your life easier, I suppose. You'll find that if you're working with front-end designers particularly, they will not have any idea what on earth you're talking about when you use this sort of stuff, generally anyway. So yeah, I would strongly advise that you go down the sort of the real-world route and use a proper front-end system. And modern Symphony best practice, if you do go down this route, is just to include everything in your web directory. So before you might have done resources public CSS, something like that, or put it inside your source at bundle resources public CSS folder, which is a bit of a mouthful. These days they just put it directly inside your web directory. Again, I don't really use this sort of thing, so yeah, take it with a pinch of salt, I suppose. Just paste that bit in. So that's from the Bootstrap template, and then what we need to do is just say in here CSS my style, and then if we refresh in here, we should find that we get that nice little bit of drop down extra added in. Okay, but let's pull this back towards FOSUserBundle. So we'll just customize this top nav a little bit, and we'll just say FOSUserBundle example. And that's a bit tenuous saying that that's pulling it back towards FOSUserBundle, but there we go. Navbar, I think it's just navbar right, I think. We'll worry about that in a sec. And then these links are kind of wrong, but we might want something in here. I'm just going to comment. In fact, I'll just leave that in just to see if this works. So yeah, we got our contact thing pulled over to the right. Now, if we go to our login template, and I covered this briefly, you can see we've got a bit of a styling issue going on already, but you can see we've got this login thing. Now, if we log in, so you might have come across this bit already, but it's a bit odd all the same. So that disappears now, but if we look back at the template for this, where are we? So app, secure, no, it's not in there, is it? It's in our FOSUserBundle layout. So we can see at the top, we've got this is Authenticate remembered section. So in theory, having briefly covered on roles and stuff, you should know by now that when you log in, we're getting, depending on how you're logged in, you may either be is authenticated remembered or is authenticated fully. So that depends on whether you're logged in using your remember me cookie or you've actually logged in properly this session. But we see that we do get the login. So it's a translated link, but that was the link that you were seeing that we clicked to log in. But yet this section here doesn't actually show once we're logged in, and that's kind of weird, because this is basically saying at best, if we've only logged in using our Remember Me cookie, we should still see this. And if we've logged in with our credentials this session, then we would also have this, because is authenticated fully also gets access to is authenticated remembered. So why? And that's because they stack basically. But why are we not seeing that link? Well, it's because, and this is kind of strange, but if we look at the login template, this extends FOSUser layout. So this is our version. This is because we're overriding it, but this is our version. And then if we say look at our profile and we go to edit, we can see again we're looking at we're using our overridden template. Yet on this page, so we're just on the root page here, and our root page is, let's just close that one, our default is just this one, which just extends the base, and the base is this template. And so we've lost access to that FOSUserBundle section, this bit. So what we actually need to do is pull this bit out and pop it into our base template, so that wherever we are, we're getting access to that. That's kind of not really going to work for us though. So perhaps it would be better to put this into our top nav instead and have this styled nicely. But let's just pop it into the base just for now, and we'll pop it under our top nav. In fact, what we'll do entirely was just comment out that top nav, refresh, and now we can see logged in as code review. So that's what we want. So log out, we get that, log in, we get directed to the form, code review, test, and we should get access again to our little snippet. But it looks a little bit ugly and it's not inside the container. That's pretty much why it's not styled properly. So if we just paste that into our container, you should see that now it drops it a little bit back in line. It's not ideal really, but that's not really where we're going to put it anyway. So let's just pop the top nav back in, get rid of some of that space there, and jump across to our top nav template. What we want to do is we still want this logic in there, but we want to style it nicely using Bootstrap. So we need to put some LIs around this, and that's because of the way that Bootstrap Top Nav works. So they just need to be list items effectively. And again, this one, that one's the wrong tag. Let's just pop that, make it nicer and right. Let's just tidy that up a touch. And then at the top there, we're going to get this logged in text as well. So we're going to get logged in as code review. We kind of want that to be at the top. It's not ideal, but we've not covered how to sort out our translations yet anyway, so not worrying too much about that. And that was just that little dash thing that I just removed out there, a little pipe. Let's just close off an LI there before we put one in. I'll just drop that in. So now when we log in, we should get 2 list items at the top. And we also need to then just replace this entire section in our nav right. Navbar right, should I say, and get rid of those bits. With a bit of luck, if we refresh now, it's not particularly styled well, but you can see logged in as code review. Let's style that a little bit nicer. So just to prove that I'm not just sort of a sort of Bootstrap legend or something, which I'm most definitely not, components, what I'm going to do is just nick the stuff from the navbar. Navbar text is what we want, so you can see we should have something like that, signed in as Mark Otto, whoever that is, but instead ours is just going to look like that. We're just going to steal this little bit here and just tidy that up a touch. So probably want to drop that onto another line. Sure, you know what the outcome of this is going to be. Well, hopefully anyway. I say hopefully, I mean I hope it looks like that. Let's just give this a refresh. So you can see there it logged in as code review, and then we got to log out. Touch wood, I was going to say there, you get this login thing which is going to take us off there, and we should all be good to go.